delay between like
Oh god, yeah.
games being played and players just sitting there just crying their eyes out. Like I want to play. So I don't know. I think we should definitely be happy with the amount of games that we've all done today in a decent short time span.
All right, let's
Cool.
see. We have Namshar from Carnage here as the red Zerg player, and StrinterN, his teammate, the blue Protoss player on the opposite side of the map, already asking him to only build bases on his half of the map, having seen the game with Yona, and no doubt this being a popular strategy in CVP. Namshar having done that in the past, StrinterN already wary. But nice to see, two guys, teammates, they're about to knock each other out of the tournament, basically, or at least knock one of those out.
Wait, no, like
are they?
Like these two players plus Goody, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, these are all qualified.
Well, not knock, but
like he will knock them out of the better seeding. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they're still like, oh, fine, just let's have fun.
No, I don't think so, Wish. I think it's about done. So, oh, actually, speaking of gold bases.
Yeah.
Maybe we should shut up. Alright.
Yeah, we do see the gold base being taken here by Namshar, already being identified here by StrinterN. But he's following this up.
He didn't see it. He didn't see it though.
Did he not?
No.
He passed it though.
He passed it, but he didn't see it.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, he's gonna look for it again.
Check.
Like, you can tell by the pull timing that it's
exactly.
Like if the pull's not down by like 2:10, like you need to check for a hedge somewhere.
You know what? It's too bad he didn't open with a forge, and he opened with the Nexus first instead. Because that's like all you need is to open forge first, and the Zerg does not do this because he knows that by the time he would be able to defend any cannons, it would have been too late. I feel. I mean, it's so far away.
Yeah, sure, for the build or the win, but I think like Namshar, of course, being like the longer games goes on, like the more dangerous Namshar gets. Namshar is definitely a very late game centered player in all matchups, really. So I don't know. I guess if you keep that in mind, you definitely want build order wins or build order advantages as StrinterN here. But then again, if you get to practice with Namshar, like you will get dragged up to his level of playing macro as well. And then I guess getting a Nexus first isn't the shortest stick you can get or pull.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, yeah, Nexus first versus a hatch first, even it being a gold hatch, pretty much, or gold base.
Because he's forced to pull behind this, you can't 3-hatch with this, really. Like,
yeah, exactly.
If you knew it was Nexus first, maybe, but nah.
Yeah, so you're right. The Protoss still has the better end of the build order as it is. Unless he gets like baneling busted or something, which I really doubt.
I'd definitely say it's about even. Like it cancels out because you can't 3-hatch, but you still get up like a fairly quick base, and your income is gonna be really high. But yeah, there's some
another
pressure
thing
coming
is though.
Here. 2 queens here to greet this, instantly snipes the tumor. That's nice. That's definitely gonna limit the creep spread.
What do you think about something like a quick 6 gate or something like it? Because the fact that the base is all the way in the center of the map, the quicker you attack, the better the position you are in to take it out.
The best build I've really seen with this is like the 7 gate all in, but you take double gas, and I think the 7 gate, like not the late one, but like the straight up 7 gate of Nexus first, can hit sub 7 minutes, but you can just pull off 1 gas. And then the Zerg identifies like, oh, it's double gas, nothing is gonna hit me before 7 minutes. And then you just show up with a large army, and your way there is not gonna be far, but his reinforcement path is gonna be just as far, and you warp in directly like on top of his
Yeah,
base.
exactly. You cancel your distance because of the warp-ins. So as long as you have pylons there, eventually you're going to just take that base down. It's going to be quite some time before those two bases, the Nat and the third, is connected with Creep on the side of Namshar. So let's see. It's not going to be the 6/7 gate or anything like that. It looks like we see a Forge and a Robo. Looks like a pretty standard follow-up here for StrinterN, but more in looks like more in the way of Immortals than in the way of
like
Blink.
an aggressive 2-base push. I would
Yeah.
like. I guess you could say it's a standard response because on this map, taking a third base against Terran or Zerg as a Protoss, like that's why
Impossible, mate.
most players just don't want to. You could. It's just hard. It's hard, and you can get caught out of position. They're so spread apart as well. It's hard. There's 3 pathways into the third base, given where you take it.
Yeah, that's exactly. We discussed this earlier when we started the broadcast, that these new maps, like some of those maps, you take a look at that as Protoss and you go like, how am I supposed to play macro on this? So this is one of those maps where taking the third base is very problematic. And once again, take a look at the location where StrinterN is going to be taking that base. And again, because of Namshar taking the base in the center, he can't take that pocket third base, which is above his main base. So walking to his third from his natural is going to be problematic because of his own wall. Meanwhile, Namshar is spreading the creep from his third, from the center of the map, all the way towards the Protoss.
Yeah, this is what we talked about as well. Like, you get there so rapidly. Like, you're already, like, almost in your opponent's natural after, like,
this is
3 or
going
4
to be
times
very
of creep
problematic.
spread.
Very problematic for StrinterN to deal with in about 5 minutes from now.
Yeah. Trade Mark Namshar, Ling Roach into Mura with Burrow as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna, like, Namshar's mid-game is basically, like, harassment focused. Like, pure macro, harassment focused, just try to pick off as many units as possible while still maintaining a healthy eco and potentially working up towards a late game army or an army that trades very well against the Protoss.
Or just a Muta switch. That's true, he does that a lot. He actually does that in ZVZ as well. Or used to.
The Muta switch?
Yeah. Katarina is a map where he did it a lot.
Yeah, like it's a stylistic thing. It's not actually viable unless you're ahead or against a worse player.
Yeah, exactly.
I talked about him with it because when it first came online, oh well, let's talk about the engagement for a bit. A lot of sentries have gone down already. The Stalker support is kind of winning, but all these Roaches are so weak and he's just gonna get on top of them. A few Ling reinforcements arrive here as well, and he's just gonna dive on the right side as well. This is what we talked about. You can't defend the natural and the third base at the same time. They're so spread apart. There's creep reinforcements just separating everything. The cannon is gonna go down, and there's no gateway wall here because he built it at the ice rocks on the left side of the main. So no photon overcharge available here either, and I think this third base is just gonna go down here.
Man, Namshar is just relentless. I have a feeling this is going to be a very short game. Gee, called by StrinterN. Now, I gotta say all the credit to Namshar, because did you notice that focus fire in that battle? Like, despite being force fielded all the time, he never fired at the stalkers. He always tried to fire at the sentries and kill them as fast as possible. And when they were gone, he started focusing down the Immortals. He never even once cared for the Zealots and the Stalkers. This is just because, you know, without sentries, that gateway army of the Protoss player is really not a threat to anymore, because they can't crowd control you. So with the speed of the Roaches, you can just go around, you can do flanks, you can take a step forward, a step back, you know, just fire a volley and then retreat. Very nicely done. That was vicious, man.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it was. Like, if I were StrinterN, I would be so scared.
Yeah, that was pure macro as well. Like, because he did attempt to go into the macro game, but he kind of delayed his third base because of the links and the creep that was there, and then kind of worked on infrastructure again, and then back into Expo. He was just like, he barely had he had too little of everything. Too little eco, too little army, and just like the sheer power of the gold base, the quick third base and fourth base follow up by Namshar, and just sheer out macro combined with the good focus fire. Very well done there by Namshar.
All right. Should go into game number 2. The Grandmaster versus the Plat. He really should climb that ladder a little bit. You know what? You know what I would love? A separate ladder, or at least a separate ranking. Like for every player. And that would change depending on the WCS standing. Like imagine if every player who, let's say it's season 1 of WCS of said year, right? And it's the same length as a ladder season. So how about every player that made it into Premier would have a different border around their portrait? So that you know that, oh, this is a Premier League player. And the same for Challenger players.
People were thinking about as well, like to differentiate, like before, like High Diamond was like a full league above Diamond, because High Diamond was like almost High Master, because people were just not getting promoted into Masters. And people were talking about as well to like, people want like their own rank. People want to be like feel important or feel special, and that's like, oh well, there's at least like 12,000 other people who have the same border or portrait as me. So I don't think it would be something that's very hard to implement, but
it would be nice. I mean, you have like 200 Grandmasters, right? But how many of those guys are professionally playing players that are Premier quality, right? And even some like. Even guys that are in Premier League, they don't get to GM because they, for some reason, cannot play on their account for a while, or various other stuff.
Yeah.
So like having a separate like something that graphically distinguishes players that are playing at the top echelon levels of StarCraft would be very nice.
It's another unlockable as well. It's like something to look out for, because right now, I guess once you get that GM border, it almost like it doesn't lose its value. Like it's still nice, but there's no next step. There's nothing to work towards. So I wouldn't say that's a bad idea. But yeah, let's introduce these players once again. Spawning here on Echo LE in the top left, playing for Carnage Esports. It's gonna be the Green Protoss, StrinterN.
Well, StrinterN quickly losing game number 1 to this guy. His teammate Namshar, the red Zerg player in the bottom right corner. This time it's going to be pool first, not going with a hatch first. This is moderately interesting to. Oh, look at Namshar. He knows the timings. That was a nice juke.
Wow.
Booyah! No, this is moderately interesting to me because I was under the assumption that going 15 or 16 hatch or whatever versus Protoss is like the go-to opener. Like you never go pool first almost ever, right?
It's really weird because it's a respecting going pool first, because like you know you can auto build order loss against proxy 2 gates and cannon rushes if you don't pull first. Like your opponent can be like Gold League and he can still auto win, just build order win, and there's very little you can do about it as a Zerg, because you simply do not have the production yet.
Yeah, but why would Namshar go like pool first and then double hatch? Like, why would he go pool first? The double hatch makes sense. Why would he go pool first versus StrinterN?
It's a safety thing, and it's also like a respecting, as I said previously, because like he just showed his dominance. Like he showed like how well he can macro, so he's confident in his macro right now. So he's like, oh, even if I have like 2 drones less at the start, I'm still absolutely able. Like I'm absolutely fine to macro against you. Like you didn't pose like much of a threat last time, so I'm willing to play safer, just to not auto lose. but still get like all the eco I want to just like a few seconds later. And it gives a lot of with this, like as you can see right now, he just runs straight into the main here. He scouts everything. He could just check the gas count here. He could potentially even kill a worker, and like it gives more info. It's safer, and even now, like he's forcing workers off the mineral line, so it's not that bad in the end. Like this used to be the standard actually until everyone started 4-gating, like the 2-base 4-gate. And that's where you really notice when your creeps and or your queens and your inject cycles differentiated from each other. And you needed all your units at bulk because 4 zealots just kept getting warped in at like 6:30, like every time, like very close to your base. Yep. So you want there to spawn like 28 circlings, and not like 12 and then 8 and then 8 again. So that's when people kind of started to go back towards hatches and the gate expanse, or like against gate expanse, they went fast 3-edge, so the queen cycles would be similar. But this is definitely just safe play, not gonna take any risk, not gonna auto lose. I'm gonna show the boss here. I'm hoping this is a Stargate to establish a 3rd base, because as soon as you go Stargate, and I guess there's like there's 2 builds right now I would find viable of 2 bases with a Stargate. That's Phoenix 7-gate with +1. And there's Mass Phoenix with DT. And it sounds really weird. Because like, oh, Phoenix are gonna force Spore Crawlers. And Spore Crawlers detect Dark Templar. But you get up you go up to like 8 or 10 Phoenix. And you can just insta-snipe like so many units. You hard counter Hydras with it as well. Roaches don't do too much either. And you just warp in 4 or more, like you warp in 4 DTs, then you shift click Spore Crawlers, and then your basically your Phoenix can kill all the Overseers being made, and then you can still kill bases with Dark Templar. It's something we've seen coming out from Myongsik, one of the better Protoss players in Korea out there. It's a very cool build. But that's like the only viable 2-base target builds. But we are indeed going to see the 3rd base here. He only has the Mothership Core and a few units here to protect this, but it's going to be enough. Speed is not yet done here. But we do see melee coming out here from Namshar. So Namshar might be thinking about putting on some link pressure over at this 3rd base. Oh, it's so low. I was just Spore Crawler could have gotten a shot off perhaps, but...
Nah. Oracle's like, too fast for some Spore Crawlers.
Acceleration is so high.
But still, if you don't keep it moving all the time, you can lose it very easily.
Oh yeah, like you need to at least pay some attention to it.
Yeah, the acceleration is not that high that you can just afford to let it sit somewhere. 4th base from Namshar,
he can just keep going. Like the army on the left has force-fielded itself in as well. There's only a single sentry. He's chrono boosting his warp gates now. He needs to get more sentries here behind as well, and just barely finishing in time. Gets the worker here, but he's gonna get a sentry as well. He might get in. A few circlings only getting in, but he does get a sentry pick off here. He kind of wants to have more. He does not have the bulk of units to dive on this left army here, and
I think he's just trying to scare StrinterN, and he is scared a little bit. I would even say that he maybe overreacted with building the secondary wall there. He's getting a 4th base behind this, and he's going straight up into Hydroden. Like, yeah, he's probably just gonna go with Hydras and Lings, nothing else. Just, hit a very quick timing, and just count on mass Lings to do the bulk of damage that he needs to do. It's a very quick attack, this one, and a very old one, right? But I used to remember this one being done with only +1 and a little bit faster. You know the Hydra Link +1 pushes off of 3 bases. This is 4th base so strong. Infestation. Yeah, it was because it hit. That was back in the day where Colossi openers were really popular, and it used to hit just as your first Colossi popped.
It was actually Stargate into Robo. That was like pretty common back then, even when they went towards
that's what I
Oracle.
meant.
And then they went Oracle, which kind of invested away from the Robo. And then like there was a one Colossus at like 1030, and you had like 25 Hydras and a ton of speed links.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could just overrun like delayed third bases because it wasn't fortified yet. But nowadays it's kind of out of meta. You can use it, but only defensively against pushes, really. Aggressive, it doesn't really work as well anymore.
Oh boy. Some Lingerinos in the base. Oops,
Yeah, forces a recall actually. Huh, nice. Well, Namshar knows that he's safe for a couple more minutes. He's essentially trying to buy time, nothing more. Those DTs that are in the production tab are going to be very interesting for StrinterN though, because this is how he can wrestle control back from Namshar to himself, as his +2 is just about to finish up as well, and he's thinking about getting aggressive. This is very interesting what Namshar is doing, at least to me, because he's pretty much going full-on melee with Infestors backed up by Hydra DPS.
Yeah, he's going towards Ultras right now. But
that's the very old style.
It's kind of becoming... It's not... I guess it's old style. Yeah, I guess you could say this is... Wings of Liberty style.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen this for ages. Counterattack at the or harass at the third base forces all the probes to be pulled out. I wonder if we're gonna see any DTs anywhere. I mean, there are a lot of spores everywhere, so I don't know if DTs make the most sense.
Well, like. Yeah, I guess DTs wouldn't make too much sense, but there are indeed in the main base here. They're kind of stuck on this Spore Crawler and Queen being surrounded by the drone. Very cute microwave from Namshar just to stall this DT push. And now the Ling reinforcements have arrived. There are overshares here, so even if these Templar go down, and indeed they do. But a push here on the right side, sectioning off all the Hydras, completely nullifying all their damage output. And he needs all his links. And oh my god, his macro hedge. Oh my god, he's just missed macroing here a bit, and now his army is together here on the top side again. He does have good upgrades for these Zerglings. I think it's only melee upgrades, so they're still gonna get two-shotted by these +2 Stalkers. It's definitely something worth mentioning here. The Mothership Core almost falls here. But like, the longer this goes on... let's see, there is a Robo down. But once these Ultras come out... And look at the creep spread. Like, it's even active creep tumors. So it's like, oh, the creep is gonna halt here. It's even gonna advance from this point on.
You know what? I actually think the Protoss is in a better position now, because he's got Storm on the way, he's got Robo finished. There are no armor upgrades on the Zerg units. And it's gonna be like one... If he goes Ultras, it's going to be like one huge push, which I don't think he'll go Ultras, by the way.
Like
it's going to be like one push. The Hydras are gonna melt to the Storms, and then it's going to be counterattack on GG.
Yeah, like, but I think StrinterN has identified what he might be playing against, so he is building Immortals and Storm right now. And the best thing against this you can do, because you want to make a trade happen as Zerg. So what he just does every single time, he counterwarps Zealots. At this point, like, Zealots don't really serve like a great purpose in his army anymore anyway. So he just uses them to harass, pull the Zerg back, just force multitasking, and there we go, more Zealots heading into the main base here. And he's just gonna go, he's gonna go for the spawning pool. This is gonna mean Namshar won't be able to produce any Zerglings or extra Queens here if he's gonna go Ultras. But this is a massive, massive pickoff here. The spawning pool is getting remade here, but that means no additional Queens here.
Oh, he does have enough Queens. 9 already.
He just made 5, but it's definitely a good pickoff. Like, look at the minerals Namshar has right now. Like, you don't want to spend those on Zerglings against Storm, so he would rather have Queens.
That is true. Like, all in all, his army is not very beefy. It's pretty squishy.
Oh, nice fungal coming down there. The Queen's kind of blocking here a bit. Might have to transfuse. Yeah, there we go. But all these Zealots are gonna get cleaned up without a... This is the worst part when you're playing Ultra style. Like, you just can't deal with War Prisms. It's just so annoying if they pay attention to them. But it looks like StrinterN is ready to push out into this base here on the right side. And there's no static available. And the base is only at half health as well. So he could just push up, just section off, just force field the low ground, snipe the base and pull out again. More Zealotress in the main base as well. He's just being very annoying here. But at the same time, his fourth is really delayed. Like, there was a link burrow there and he built 2 cannons prior to building the 4th base. But when you know you're up against this style, you need to fortify bases, because bases being constructed get absolutely wrecked by circlings with +3. There's so much damage output being done there. They can just completely destroy bases. So yeah, more nice transfuse on the right side here, saving the Spinecrawler for a bit longer so its reinforcements can arrive here. So these sellers are just being annoying while he pushes in on the left side, and it's going to be able to snipe the base here, and the army is massively out of position. At the same time, the Warp Prism is in the main, ready to warp in, and the spawning pool is massively exposed again.
Yeah, but he's losing his 4th base, at the 5th base, excuse me, at the same time. Do we have a Mothership Core with that army? We don't actually have a Mothership Core anywhere with that army, so no Eco available.
If he gets
oh my god.
Combined with the transfuses, oh my god,
there's
so much damage being done by all these ultras. They only have a single carapace upgrade. Chitinous plating is not yet done, but this is what ultras do when you blinding cloud fungal.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, holy fuck, that was like and sweet Joseph.
That was like cheese.
What the hell?
He just went through them.
This is why this is new style. Like, it's old style, but it's also becoming new style. I've been playing this style like a while now. And if you can switch out of Roach Hydra, or you don't get pressured too much by Ling Bling, you go up to this composition, and Queen, Fester, Viper. So many energy-based units, very hard to control, but it's so incredibly strong. And only really gets beaten by pure error, or like 50... No, not even like Immortals get nullified by